Hi, my name is Stephanie, and today I want to talk to you about judging whether someone is Christian enough. So I was thinking about this because of how I had shared some of my insecurities and weaknesses with you guys not too long ago on the channel, and I thought that maybe that would make some of you feel like maybe you shouldn't be following me, maybe you shouldn't watch me, because I think as Christians we can be pretty hypercritical of each other, and that, we're taught that we need to be careful about what and who we listen to and the kind of messages and everything like that. And I think a lot of the times when we hear that, for example, a Christian music artist has messed up or done something we feel is questionable, we then call into question whether we can listen to their music or follow them on Twitter. A lot of times I see Christians kind of write each other off as sources of information or inspiration just because they messed up or made a mistake. We kind of tend to want to make people be perfect. So for them to be inspirational or worth listening to, they have to be pretty much perfect and always respond in a perfectly biblical way. In fact, they can only be interested in praising, worshiping God and the Bible. God forbid they have a favorite TV show, especially if it has that cussing stuff in it. I too have fallen prey to this kind of mentality. I was doing some self-reflection and realized if those kinds of criteria was applied to me, then I would definitely not be someone worth listening to. No one should watch my YouTube channel, my videos, listen to a word I say. By the standard of perceived perfection, I fall very, very short. It's funny how it seems that most of us believe that we can judge someone's relationship with God. I think it's important for us to realize that what's okay for some people isn't okay for others, and vice versa. When I was younger, I was very into anime. So I'm autistic, and things can become very obsessive interest type things for me very easily. Add to that I was a moody teenager. So, put together being autistic and then being a moody teenager in a house that wasn't, the most stable in the world, just kind of mixed together for the best kind of experience dealing with me when I was a teenager. And I also spent a lot of time online with my so-called friends, who I would later find very few of them deserved that title at any point. So I guess in my mom's eyes, that meant that I was this rebellious teenager. Never mind the fact that I went with her to church every single time that we would go, every time that the doors were open. Never mind the fact that I poured my heart out in worship. Never mind the fact that I was seeking more and more into understanding my spiritual gifts and how to be in a deeper relationship with God. That didn't matter because I liked and talked about anime a lot, and I didn't like sitting at the table for dinner talking about seemingly pointless things. I didn't realize that this was the kind of view my mother had of me until one time I asked to spend the night at my friend's house and go to an event that happened to be on a Sunday, meaning I would miss a Sunday morning service. I rarely ever asked to do something like this. I don't know if you grew up like me, but for a lot of people apparently missing a Sunday morning service is practically a sin, especially it was in my mom's eyes at the time. She kept fighting me on wanting to go to this thing with my friend because it meant that I would miss Sunday morning service. I would miss one Sunday out of God knows how many I had faithfully attended thus far. So I let her know my thoughts in an outburst that was very emotional, and I informed her how missing one service would not mean that I suddenly didn't love God, that he wouldn't somehow not become my God, that I would lose my relationship with Jesus, that somehow I stopped loving him because I didn't go to a service one time. And she was stunned. She said she'd never heard me be that passionate about my faith, and she actually let me go that time. See, what she and everyone else had judged about me down their noses because I was so attached to being online and watching the anime, they didn't know that those people that I talked to, I constantly tried to bring them to Christ. I didn't do things the right way every time, for sure. I definitely experienced being zealous without knowledge, but I sobbed for people and their lack of a relationship with Christ, and I interceded for so many of those people in the midnight hour. But all people saw was that I was interested in things that were not Christian. I guess I want to remind myself and others that though yes, we do know people through their fruit, that doesn't necessarily mean that we should write people off just because they do things that we think aren't Christian enough. Just because some people demonize anime across the board, that somehow meant that me watching anime and liking to be online meant that I just didn't have a relationship with Jesus. They didn't take into account the fruit of my worship and my faithful attendance and my faithful volunteerism and how I tried to reach out to other people about Christ. They only cared to pick up on that horrible thing that I was interested in. So sometimes there's that whole, can you be a Christian and watch this show or whatever kind of thing. I think that God works on us in stages, and say someone really likes a dark TV show, but they're spending a lot of their time trying to reach the lost with Christ. They're spending a lot of time trying to develop that relationship with Jesus. That dark TV show that they like watching probably isn't God's main concern right then. It could be any number of other things, but we try to hold each other to a perceived mark of perfection in the way that we think people should be. I hope that we can remember that sometimes people are full of the Holy Spirit and trying to do what they can and the best they know how to follow Christ, even if it doesn't look the way you think it should. Anyway, thank you so much for watching today. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, go ahead and leave it a thumbs up and let me know your thoughts in the comments below. I hope that you're having a wonderful week and see me in my next video. Bye!